Hey, Mike here. So this video is going to be a little more of an impromptu type of video. These are all of the plugins that I have installed here. At the same time of this video is going to be a bit longer. I'm going to delete plugins that I'm not using at this time. Let's go over these one by one. So first up, we have Data View by Michael Brennan. This is a must-have plugin if you want to make sense of the data that you have within your Obsidian. Reminds me a little bit of SQL. Simple commands such as this are able to pull data from your notes and organize them in a very visually appealing way. You can always go further in the organization of notes. Within this plugin, you also have access to DataView.js, where you're able to use JavaScript within your DataView code and really make intricate designs of what you want to see when it comes to the data. Keep in mind, these are all just files. This is just metadata within those files, and you're able to organize it in this specific type of way where, again, you're able to make sense of things which automatically update as time goes on and you update these files. It is a must-have if you are building any type of dashboard or home center for any topic that piques your interest. DataView has beautiful documentation. It's supported extensively on GitHub with a lot of people contributing. It's consistently updated. And as you can see, it has over 1 million downloads. I use DataView as a general plugin every single day, and I will definitely make a standalone video on DataView sometime soon. Next up, we have Advanced Tables. Now, this one I don't use, so I will be deleting it. I did download it to test it out. I'm not a very big tables guy. I don't use tables all that often. Obviously, as you can see, it works very well. You're able to switch around rows and columns. Everything auto resizes. It's a beautiful plugin. However, I don't use it myself. So while we are here, I'm just going to uninstall it since, again, not for me. Wonderful and beautifully working plugin. If you are a tables user, this is a must-have. Next up, we have the Kanban, however you want to pronounce it. I do use this. I don't use it as much as I should because DataView has really been my go-to in terms of organizing task workloads. However, this is definitely a more visual version that you're able to drag and drop things. Again, has extensive documentation. It's not updated all too frequently. As you can see, the last update was 5 months ago. However, there's only so much that you can do with a Kanban. So until there are bugs, issues, and feature requests, as you can click here and register them, I'm guessing the creator, MG Myers, does not have any need to update it. Again, close to 1 million downloads here. Absolutely essential plugin if you do enjoy the more visual approach to organizing tasks and to-do lists. Next up, we have the Calendar plugin. This is a must-have, of course. For some reason, the native built-in calendar isn't good at all. I don't even think there is a native built-in calendar for Obsidian. I may be wrong, but I haven't found one personally. So unless it's hidden in some sort of setting deep within the core of Obsidian, I don't think it has it. This gives you a visual calendar. You're able to click on the dates. It works remarkably well with other plugins such as the Daily Periodic Notes or the native Daily Note template plugin. As you can see in the features, it says go to any daily note, create new daily notes, etc., blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. We have weekly notes. There are monthly notes as well. As for customization, you are able to customize everything through CSS. Again, it's a very well-rounded plugin. Last update was 2 years ago because, once again, there's only so much you can do with a calendar plugin. This one is made by Liam Kane. Close to 1 million once again. And yeah, that's a must-have for me. Next up, we have Tasks. Now, this plugin I thought I would utilize a lot. However, I found it, number one, a little bit spammy. When you start writing out a to-do list item, you get presented with a lot of options that personally I would love to just turn off, but there doesn't seem to be that sort of setting. However, I think that if you don't sort your to-do lists automatically, as I do within the use of DataView, which if you're interested in how I sort to-do lists and just get all of the to-do list items from all of my notes all across my Obsidian vault and organize them within one specific note labeled to-do list, as you can see here on the left-hand side, I can definitely make a video on that as well. Again, I tried this out. It seems very well put together, but it's just not for me. So I will be uninstalling this on my system. Again, you are more than recommended to try out these plugins, even the ones that I am uninstalling, simply because, as I always say, what system might work for me may not work for you, and vice versa. I'm here to teach you how to create systems, not how to make a system like mine. Next up, we have Templater. This plugin is great for those that find themselves reusing specific notes or sections that they like to fill out. Again, this one has a lot of documentation, a lot of possibilities when it comes to creating notes. It lets you insert variables and function results. If you're into JavaScript, it also lets you use that. I use Templater, again, every single day. It has well over 500,000 downloads. It's certainly a fundamental building block of my Obsidian workflow. I'll be sure to make a more intensive video on Templater because, again, there's just so much to go over. Moving on, we have advanced slides. I don't really find myself using this quite often. This was more so just so that I have it if I ever do come across the need to create slides. As you can see, it's very intuitive. You can make slides with just simple headers. This right away makes me understand that I can create full advanced slides with something like ChatGPT and a simple prompt, giving it an example structure of response, and it would then generate wonderful slides for me. It's something I definitely want to explore more in a future video. So if you do find that interesting, do let me know in the comments and I'll make a full feature video on advanced slides itself. You can embed notes, live preview. As you can see, I mean, everything is pretty much very apparent here in the little GIF. Again, there's a lot of documentation here and a lot of help. You can follow development on Twitter, although the last update was 8 months ago, so I'm not sure if it's still being updated or not, but the plugin itself still is great standalone. Next up, we have Obsidian Git. Now, I downloaded this to try it out. It's just one of those that I saw the word Git and I felt like I needed to try it out. I have no use for it, but it may come in handy for you. Next, we have Outliner. So this one is a must-have plugin if you are a list creator, whether it's bulleted lists or to-do lists. It's definitely something that you need because it allows manipulation, as you can see here, straight from the keyboard. You can also switch these around with the mouse, as there's an example here below. Let's see. Yeah, drag and drop with the mouse if you are more of a mouse user. And of course, there is indentation. There are indentation lines that you're able to see here. It's a more visual representation of what item is under what. The key bindings are very intuitive. Command up, command down for folding, and command shift, I believe. Yeah, command shift up, command shift down for moving these list items, as you can see right here. This is all done by keyboard. So it's great for when I'm reorganizing my priorities for the day, moving things up if I want to finish them earlier, or moving them down if I want to finish them later or even tomorrow. So must-have plugin for me. When it comes to minimal theme settings here, this is just a great way to get color schemes. As you can see, Capuchin is one of my favorites. Atom is a good one. Nord, it's another good one here. I used to like Groovebox. Yeah, I mean, they're just great fonts, or I'm sorry, great color schematics. But you can also, of course, change the fonts, font sizes, line width settings. I mean, this really does allow you to change everything about how Obsidian looks like within the note interface. Even things like tables, images, and iframes. Editor's syntax highlight is also a must-have for me because I do a lot of tech notes, programming, etc. So I always like to have it color-coded, whether it's CSS, JavaScript, Python, you name it. It has the color codes for it. The last update for it was 2 years ago, but once again, this is one of those plugins that once it's created, there's very little maintenance that's necessary, since if it works, it works. Moving on, we have recent files. This is pretty self-explanatory. This gives you, as you can see here, a recent files little button here, and you're able to see your recent files history. Annotator is great for PDFs. If you have a PDF that you want to annotate, you can open it up. I think there's a little visual example here that it's going to show. He pastes in, he or she, I'm not sure, pastes in a PDF here, and as you can see, it opens it up. Now you're able to annotate it, highlight it, and really go through it extensively. This is great for research papers, PhDs, citations, anything that has to do with PDFs, business documents, what have you. Whether you are receiving or sending this annotated version to someone, this plugin is definitely a must-have. Homepage is a great plugin. This just gives you a homepage that opens up every time you open Obsidian. You can also set a hotkey that opens up the homepage, whatever you have it set to. I have it set to my daily journal since I spend a lot of time there. I track everything within my journal, so that's why I have a hotkey that goes straight there. I just uploaded a video about how I go through my daily journal, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out the video. OmniSearch is definitely one of my favorite, if not the favorite plugin, simply because it uses one of my favorite features ever created by mankind, fuzzy search. Now, I have it set to Command-Shift-F. Anything that I type now, I'm able to find immediately. So let's say I want to remember a note about lemon water. I can type in water, lemon, and it will show me every single note that has anything closely related to, or specifically, in this case, lemon water. Periodic notes is how I keep track of all of my daily notes, aka my journaling, and weekly notes, weekly summaries more so, and monthly checklists, things I want to accomplish by the end of the month. It has a bunch of commands that I use very frequently, from opening the weekly note to the next weekly note. If I know that I need something done next week, I open that up. If I want to check, did I accomplish this or that task last week, I can do that with previous. I mean, I pretty much use every single one of these commands. It's especially one of my favorites because it has the integration with calendar. So you're able to connect the daily notes that are clickable in the calendar, as I mentioned earlier, and it will pop up that note for you. It has, once again, a very extensive documentation, and yeah, last updated 2 years ago, but again, it's something that's been perfected. Paste URL into selection. As you can see here in the demo, you select a word, and if you have a link that's copied to your clipboard, when you paste it, it will create a link on the word that you selected. As you can see here, he clicks paste. Let's say, for example, I have http www.google.com. I copy this link. Let's say I want to make this header, these two words, self-awareness, a clickable link that goes to Google. So I select it and I do Command V to paste, and boom, now I have, whenever I click this, it will go to google.com. When it comes to text generator, I've gone very deep with this plugin in terms of tutorials, and I'm still developing the tutorial series for it, so definitely check that out. It's one of my favorite plugins. I use it every day, multiple times. It is the backbone of my content creation, of my business, and saves me hours and hours of time every single day. Next up, we have banners. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. You have a banner type of image on the top, very similar to Notion. As you can see here, you have a banner that you can select. It also allows you to select an icon. So again, it's a very cool plugin if you like the visual elements of having banners in your notes. There's gradient styles. You can have the banners be embeds too. There's a lot of CSS that goes on. I think it is changeable. It is, because you can do a manual install with these styles. And so again, very good plugin for those that want to have a more personal touch to their everyday notes. The Readwise plugin, I just made a video on it. Basically, it connects your Readwise account with your Obsidian, and anything that you save on Readwise, whether it's highlights or entire articles, all of that gets transferred right into your Obsidian. As you can see here, it says anything from Apple Books to Instapaper, Pocket, Medium, Twitter, PDFs, Kindle, all of that is then synced into and found locally within a very simple Markdown note that you can create a template for. It's a must-have if you are an avid reader or just enjoy filing away articles and other interesting tidbits that you come across every single day. Now, moving on, we have the table of contents. Very self-explanatory here once again. As you can see, I even have it opened. So let's move over here. We have the typical note structure here, and on the side you have, of course, the outline. So I can now move around very quickly to specific sections of my note, whatever I find interesting at that moment, whatever I want to brush up on. And yeah, it's just a great structure to keep up with. It works especially well for my journal because I can move around it very easily. And let's say I want to add something to my chronicle, I can move down to the chronicle right away, type something off, go back to my priorities, head to my core agenda. Let's say I'm reading up on something new, I can move to my frontier exploration. It's just very quick, boom, boom, boom. As you can see, Space Harmony, Morning Catalyst. I mean, it just takes, instead of having to scroll through and hoping to find it in the right amount of scroll, I can just head there straight away. Next up, we have Tracker. So this one is more of a data visualizer, as you can see. It's great for keeping up with graphs, keeping up with specific habits or tasks, making sure that you are keeping up with everything in a timely manner. The possibilities with this when it comes to data visualization are endless, in my opinion. Same thing goes for the Data View plugin that we first talked about. This one is just way more visual. This is another one of those plugins that's very well documented. Again, not updated anytime recently, because once everything is in working order, it seems that expansion stops. Now, there do seem to be a few bugs, so breaking changes here. However, I don't think they are bugs that affect any new users. These are only those that have used template variables in the past, and now there seems to be just a new way to do it. I'm definitely going to be diving into this plugin a lot in the future. I will be making these sorts of tracker systems, and they will be available on my Patreon, patreon.com/SystemSculpt. So next up, we have Media Extended. This one is exactly what it sounds like. It allows for a lot more control and quality of life updates when it comes to media content within Obsidian. So you have speed control, link embeds, captions. You're able to take notes at specific timestamps. There are a lot of demos that you can dive into, but honestly, this plugin should be something that's a part of the original Obsidian package. It should be natively installed, in my opinion. But hey, maybe you don't want all of these extra features when you are dealing with media, so I think that's the reasoning behind why it's still a standalone package that you have to install yourself. Now, when it comes to setting search, again, one of those plugins that is exactly what it sounds like. It gives you this little search settings functionality here. I do hope to see this be a native part of Obsidian in the future, but for now, we do need to have that plugin. Moving on, we have Emoji Shortcode. So this is very similar to something like Discord, where you are able to do a colon and then a word. Now, personally, I don't use emojis too often within my note-taking, but I do like to have the functionality readily available. I don't know, I just sometimes like to add a little pop of color, I suppose, to notes. Another one of my top favorites is Smart Connections. This one allows me to link my notes in a very almost automated but extremely intelligent way. The best way to show you how this works is to just give you an example. Let's say I'm finished with this video. This is how I structure my videos, by the way, so feel free to use this as inspiration. But let's say I'm done with this, and now I want to see what of my previous notes that I've taken in the past am I able to link with this specific video. So I head on over here to this little tab, Smart Connections, and I can see all of my notes that I've ever made, the names of the notes specifically, and I can open up to look at the metadata, for example, and that way I can interlink and connect specific notes with other notes. So as you can see, this note that I'm currently active on is called My Best Obsidian Plugins, and the recommended links that I'm given, as you can see here, is a 93% match, top 5 Obsidian plugins for beginners. Another one is just called Obsidian Plugins, Obsidian Copilot versus other Obsidian AI plugins, and so on and so forth. As you move down, you can see that the relativity to my currently active note goes down, as does the percent match. This paired with the way that I generate relative links here, as you can see, not only do I then have my general relations, which I can then copy over and paste into my metadata. Now it's part of my metadata, and I can click my linked property. So now I know that this specific note is linked. I can also move any note that is above 90%. So these two specifically. This one is already linked, as you can see. So yeah, that's how I utilize this plugin on every single note that I create. When I'm done with the note, of course, or when it's an evergreen note that is already built out very well. We're nearing the end of the list here, but Text Extractor is our next stop. This is a great plugin if you utilize a lot of images or PDFs within your notes. Instead of having to annotate what is within that image, you can simply use Text Extractor, and it uses the Tesseract.js and PDF Extract libraries. I think they're both on GitHub, and it's truly an amazing plugin that works especially well with Text Generator, because Text Generator allows you to not only utilize the text within a note, but also the extracted text using this this plugin from PDFs or images that you can possibly have within a note. Plugin update tracker is the next one, and this one's pretty self-explanatory. As you can see on my bottom bar here, I have a little plug icon and it says 5 plugin updates available. I can choose to update these plugins or not. I can see what is within the update, and it just allows me to keep track and make sure that I have the latest versions of specific plugins that I use frequently. Reading time is another plugin that is just a quality of life update. This is great for understanding how long of a script I have. If I'm making a YouTube video or an article for a speech that I'm doing, it allows you to set your reading speed, format in which it shows you how long a specific note will take to read. Relative line numbers is something that I use to move around my document at lightning speed. This is something that I've picked up from using Vim for over 10 years. It's a must-have for me. I don't know if I would be able to use Obsidian without this, simply because Vim mode does not feel right without relative line numbers, in my opinion. And then last but not least, we have the Janitor plugin. So this one is great just to keep your Obsidian vault in tip-top shape when it comes to orphan files, empty files, big files, expired notes. You can set expiration dates on notes. Basically, it allows you to scan through your entire vault, and it will show you all of the notes that are, like I just said, orphaned, empty, they're maybe a little too big, and you have to refactor them, split them up into smaller notes. And yeah, I pretty much use this once a week maybe. That's about it. That's all of my plugins that I use. This video is sponsored by my Patreon. Head on over there to either become a member for free, or if you'd like to support my content and get exclusive benefits such as templates, think pieces, one-on-one messaging, premium version of our Discord channel, which our Discord channel is growing by the day. I just started all of this a few days ago. Let me know what other long-form videos you'd like me to create in the future. I release content every single day on YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Patreon. Those are my platforms for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.